Oh, no. There we go. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. Happy Friday, you guys. All right. So, I only have a half of a plan as to what we're going to do, but there's a couple of things that I want to try out today. And so we are going to give this project a go. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I do want to try a couple things, so I think this will be great. Okay, I'm just getting my computer set up here, make sure that's turned off, and make sure I can hear all of what I need to hear. Oh, see what I need to see. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hold on. Okay. That's put into place there. All right. Make myself a little bit more space over here. Okay. So, there is a couple things I do want to tell you guys. Just, while we're waiting, because we did a whole lot of like unpacking and all that stuff yesterday, so we went through a whole bunch of stuff, but we did just get in the shipment from Memory Box, and so this is a stamp set that we had, oh gosh, this came out like 2 years ago or something, but it was a request from someone and we didn't get in very many. So I just wanted to let you guys know this one is here. We have a few in stock, but it's a really nice, it's called Friends and Family. And it's just a really, really nice stamp set for, you know, just kind of some everyday cards when you're sending a hello, that kind of a thing. And then you've got that made with love on the back that you can put on the back side too if you want. Anyways, this one is a bigger stamp set. It is $24.99. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about is that this embossing folder it's the one that he made with this goose. So this is the Happy Goose. We've got that little guy in stock too now. But this embossing folder on the back side, we had a huge waiting list for this. So the people that were on the waiting list, they ended up getting that. I sent them emails already. So if you thought you were on the waiting list and you didn't get an email about this embossing folder, I may not have actually had you on the list. But we do have a number of these still in stock because I ordered more. It is called the Frosted Trees 3D embossing folder. It's only $8.99, but we haven't had this one in stock before. I actually thought when the card came, I thought this one was an older one, but it isn't. It's a brand new one from this year. So sorry that was kind of my oversight in not getting it in the first time, but it's here now. So if you wanted this embossing folder, it's only $8.99. Okay, so hi Diane, hi Susan. Okay, so we're a little bit earlier than we normally are for like Wine Friday, but I have an idea that I wanted to do, and so I wanted to kind of just get started. You know how sometimes you've got something floating around in your head and you want to just go with it, right? So I don't know who all is going to be joining us today, but one of the things that I wanted to work with, because I wanted to give you guys a little bit better understanding of how these can be used in cards, because this is a thicker weight acetate, so it really is a fabulous acetate. So I wanted to make a card featuring this acetate. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we are going to use the flower forming tools, because I haven't shown you guys this yet, but these two dies also came in that Waffle flower box. I don't know if I showed you this one, but this one says Give Thanks. It's a really pretty, just a nice sentiment die. $7.99 on that one. We're going to use this if it fits our card, and if it doesn't fit our card, then we won't use it. And then these ones. I've been really excited for these to come. So this is a sunflower die. It's $23.99, but in non-sunflower colors, this is just a really fabulous looking flower because you have all of these petals and they're not consistent, right? They're more like how you would find them in nature. So I've been kind of waiting to play with this one, and I thought today was a good day. So we're going to look at how fun that is. Isn't that cool? So these are designed to layer. I have not yet cut these out, but we're going to play with a couple of sort of different colors today. I don't know how this whole thing is going to go, but so the colors that I chose were these two colors. I know, you're like, what, Brooke? Really? For a give thanks card? But I wanted to do something that wasn't necessarily the traditional colors. And because I thought maybe this one would be a really fun acetate to use, it has sort of this like burgundy foil. And I thought that that would go really well. It would show up nice against this color. And then I thought it would be a beautiful accent with that one. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to use this acetate as part of the card base, okay? So first, we have these, we talked about these a while ago. These are slimline dies from Uniquely Creative. And what we're going to do is, in my head, I kind of have an idea of where this is going, but not completely, okay? So you may have to just bear with me a little bit. I'm going to have to figure out how to get that tape that is all the way down there off without completely ripping this thing apart, which I don't think is going to be doable. Let's see. Okay, nope, there we go. Okay, so I think the die that I want to use for my edge is this one. This is Slim Lacy Edge Dies. And I know when we got this in, a bunch of you guys requested it, but it's only $11.99 for these really pretty edges. So here's what I want to do. We're going to use this colored one as our card base, okay? We're going to make an A2 card, but instead of a complete A2 base, what we're going to do is we're going to make this, let's see, we're going to go 5.5 tall, okay? So let me just cut that width first. Okay, so we're going to go 5.5 inches tall. Now, we're going to do 4 1/4 wide, but I want to give myself an extra inch on the side that we're going to score, okay? That's going to allow me to cut this into it and have some room to put the acetate in. It'll make more sense once I get this to the point where I can show you. So I'm going to go, that's 4 1/4, and we want to give it an inch. So I'm going to cut that to 5 1/4. Okay. Ooh. All right. Okay, so 5 1/4. Now, it's 5.5 tall, right? That's the size of our standard A2, but 4 1/4 is where we want to score this. So I'm going to score this guy right at 4 1/4. What that's going to allow me to do is fold this so that now we have just a little bit of a lip on this and we still have our A2 card base. The other thing is, you guys, when you are working with a card, you know, a long die like this one of the things is that if you have the standard Big Shot, if you have the switch, you have a lot more leeway because the plates are so big. But if you have a standard Big Shot, it can't go through this way. It's longer than the Big Shot is on its opening. It's 8 1/4. So you only can stick it through your machine going one way. So because of how wide this is, it will still fit in our machine just perfect. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take and just line this up right about like so. And we're going to cut. I don't actually need that much of the space, but let me get, I need some dye, some tape for my dyes. Hang on one sec. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. That might even be all the scoring that I need to do at this point. Okay. So I actually don't think I need to have it quite that far out. I don't think I need a whole inch. So I'm going to just give it maybe about yay far. Okay. Now this particular die does not cut. Did I I went and got the tape, but I only got a piece of tape, and then I left the whole thing over there. What a dingbat. Oh, jeez. Okay. So the cool things about this die is that it only cuts the outer edge. It does not cut this back edge. So we can give ourselves as much of the leftover area kind of back here. So we can make that as long or as short as we want to. Hi, Fonda. So now I'm going to just grab my Big Shot. And I'm going to put this through. I just need a different plate. Okay. So in order for this guy to fit, we have made it so that the math is going to work on it, okay? I know you guys love it when we do math, but this one is really easy. So you can see because we have the 4 1/4 going this way, and we just have that extra inch, that this is going to fit no problem. Now I'm going to, just because I have a little extra space, I'm going to tilt it just a little bit to make it so that it rolls a little bit at an angle through the machine. Sorry for all of the wiggling. All right. Let me just check that and make sure. Oh, well, look at that. Cut no problem. Wow, that cut perfect, you guys. Okay. So I'm going to put that down. Now, so here is what we have for our, where's my die pick? There we go. Okay, so this is what we have now for our card front. Isn't this a gorgeous die? Here, I'll hold this up for you guys in just a second so you can see the detail. It's actually really, really stunning. And I can tell you, this is not a color scheme that I work with often, but this color, it may be a little bit of like a Victorian velvet or something, but in a cardstock color. So look at the detail on that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Really, really pretty. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to want to do now is I want to take this piece. So this one is the acetate that we talked about yesterday in that pack, and it's a construction weight acetate. So I'm going to cut this to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is a non-directional pattern, so I don't really have to worry about that too much. But what I am going to do is I'm going to cut it at the smaller size first, because that leaves me with a bigger residual piece. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it down to 5 1/2. All right, so we have this piece here. And what's going to end up happening, just so you guys can see, is this is going to get attached right here. And then this is going to become our card front. This beautiful piece of acetate is going to become our card front, okay? So right now, for the sake of things, I'm going to leave this backing on. I'll pull that off at the end, just to keep things protected. But what I want to do, this is just me being, you know, me. I'm going to tuck this in, and when this closes, because of that fold, see, it sticks out just a little bit. So I'm going to actually roll this back through and cut off just a little bit more to have it just a little bit shortened. And that that change of size really just has to do with the where the cardstock folds and that kind of thing. Okay, so I just cut off this much. I'll show you what we're gonna do, kind of to keep that lined up perfect. Okay, so how wide do I have here? I think I have maybe about 1/4 inch. So let me grab. Well, funny enough, you guys, I think I used up all my 1/4 inch score tape. What? It's actually pretty believable because it is my favorite size. Okay. So, take that off. All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to open this up, take our score tape, and I'm going to just run this right along the inside area of that. Okay. Now, it's not the tricky part, but this is the part where we're going to just line it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to line the acetate up, okay, right where we want it to be. And then, because acetate will kind of wiggle around, so I'm going to just take a little bit of tape. You do not have to do this, actually. You do not have to be as, like, picky about this as I am. But this is just, you know, tips if you want to craft as slowly as possible, probably. Okay, so now I'm going to take this off here. And this is in place. I think that one might stick out just a little. So, okay, and then I'm going to just take this and wrap it right around, just like so. Okay, now I'm going to give that a good burnish. So I want to make sure that holds on. And then we're going to take these off. And now I know, based on doing it this way, that this will make a beautiful, look at that. Isn't that stunning, you guys? So just like that, we've now made a gorgeous acetate card front. Do you love that? It's so pretty, right? Okay, that is how easy it is to do an acetate card front. And that is the beauty of having construction weight acetate. So a lot of the acetates that you would use for a shaker card or something like that, they can't be, they aren't as strong because this one is a pretty thick one. So look at that. It stands and has the stability of like an actual card. It's so cool. Okay, so next up, we're going to decorate this. Now, the decorating, you can do kind of, you know, basically you can do however you want this to work. But one of the things that I thought would be kind of fun is if we took, I don't know how this color is going to play out. So what I want to do is I grabbed the Delicata Rose Gold. I couldn't actually find mine, so I'm going to have to grab another one. But I think that this might work really pretty with this color scheme. Okay. So this is what I usually do to test, see kind of what I think So what it's going to do is just add just a little bit of color, but still kind of right in line with the scheme that we have going here. So I am going to take this and just, let's see, how do I want to do this? How's the best way to do this? I think I'm just going to go straight to the paper. Nope. Wait. This is not going to work. Okay. So I'll tell you what my plan was, and then I'll tell you why it's not going to work. This is exactly the same width as this card. What I want to do is I actually want to cut just a little piece of this one that I could then pop right on the top of this to make it have just a little bit of shine over here. But now as I'm looking at this, it's actually just perfect the way it is. I don't think it needs that, but the reason I would have to get a bigger piece is because I would not stand a very good chance of getting it to line up with this one with a piece that's exactly the same height, the same length. So what I would need to do is cut a bigger piece, so then when I go to adhere it, I could adhere it where it needs to be and then use scissors to cut it off. But we might come back to this. Let's just put the card together, I think, and then we will see how we need that. Okay. All right. So next up, we are going to grab a couple of these. Now, I'm super, super excited. They had, when I first ordered these, they had a sample that was like in browns with these. They have some samples that are in pinks. They're just really, really pretty flowers, and they're not super specific to, you know, being only a sunflower, even though that's what they call them, because they're really kind of more of like a daisy or not that standard sunflower. So we've got this card in the colors right there. And then I think we are going to work on doing our flowers in this beautiful dark color. So let me cut myself some paper here so that we can run this through the die cut machine. Okay, so I've got my dies here, and they have these set. So you've got two different sizes of flowers, and you've got a top one and kind of a bottom one. The top one actually has this beautiful embossed pattern. So we're going to cut both of them at the same time. I think we should be able to do that just fine. I hope. So that, and I'm just taping it down here. Okay. Oh, my machine's backwards. Hang on. All right. There we go. All right. Okay, so, oh my gosh, you guys, look at how gorgeous those are. And they cut really, really well. The detail is just etched right in there. So there's a couple of things that we can do. Hang on, let me get this die off here. These guys popped out. I think these ones that were right in the middle of my plate, that I think it's my plate that's lost a little bit of power. And I'm going to run this one back one more time right there. This spot kind of right in the middle sometimes tends to have not quite as much pressure as some of the other stuff. So sometimes I have to run that back through, which is what is happening now, because I picked a really nice thick burgundy paper. And so let me just run this back through one time. Okay, there we go. That should do. Got a tangle on. So my other half, he is driving he's headed out to the Sasquatch convention this weekend. He's going to do a little Sasquatch hunting, which means that he was supposed to tune in. That's what he said. He said, go live and I'll pop in. But I don't know where he is. He's probably driving or stuck in traffic or something. So anyways, for the last week or two, I have been talking about the, we did some flower forming stuff on the make and take that we did a couple weeks ago. So I wanted to show you guys some of what we did in the, in the make and take. It's really, really easy to get a little bit of extra life into your flower dies. So we're going to be using the Tim Holtz flower shaping kit. It comes with this mat here. The mat itself is actually really important because it's firm but has a little bit of give, which is what you need to help form the flowers. And then it comes with 2 different tools in here that have 4 different ball sizes, and it comes with a set of tweezers. It's only $22.99. So if you just want to get started with flower forming, this is a really, really good set to get started with. Okay, so what we're going to do is we kind of look at the flower, right? And we know that you have kind of the inside of the flower is here, and then the petals kind of do something sort of like that. So what we want to do is we want to go on the back side of the petals, and we just want to start taking our ball tool and giving them just little gentle circles, okay? And you can see already we're getting some really cool shaping going on in them. And all the flower, like the different flowers, die cuts and stuff, they all take a little different kind of finesse. So because this one has a bigger centerpiece, then what we're going to do is we're just going to come in and we're going to give this a little circle kind of right in that centerpiece. And now all of a sudden we have a flower with quite a bit of dimension without doing any like foam tape or anything like that. So then we're going to do the same to the back piece. Okay, so I'm guessing this is the back piece. Seems like it should be. And with this one, it's got a little bit different of a flower, like a petal makeup, which is fabulous. It means that it's going to make a really, really interesting flower. And then I'll come back in and go kind of like so. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these, and when I sort of move them around and find kind of where I want those petals to kind of join together, that's where I get this incredibly awesome kind of 3-dimensional flower that has so many different petals. Okay, so you have ones that have the texture from the die. You have some in the background. If you want all of them to have the texture, you can just cut 2 of these front pieces. Okay, so now what I wanted to do before I go, so I can go ahead and glue these together, although I didn't actually grab any glue, but I guess I probably should go do that. And it doesn't really matter. Like, what's neat about this particular die is these are so, like, I want to say odd, but pretty unique as far as the shape goes for flowers, that however you end up gluing these together, they could look different every time you put them together. Okay, so let me grab, hi Teresa. grab my glue. And one of the things I think I'm going to want to do, but I usually end up doing a little bit of a test, okay? I think I want to keep this simple so that that beautiful cover on our card that we just did shows through. But I think I want to add in a little bit of like white highlights just to the edges of the petal. So what I'm going to do is take on the leftover cardstock that I have here, I'm just going to take 2 different whites and see how they dry on this cardstock to see how I like them. Now, one of them is the white jelly roll. It comes in a retractable now, which is nice because it helps with the tip. And then this one here, this is the glaze pen. So the glaze pen is something I discovered when we were working with that squirrel card for the make and take that we did, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. And this one is a really interesting one because it comes out milky, okay? See that one? But now we just have to be patient and we have to let it dry. Because once it dries, that's when it turns really, really white. And so I kind of want to give both of those the opportunity to see how we're going to like them. All right, so let's see here. What do we think? Something kind of like, so many choices with this. I think, yeah, I like that right there. Okay. And by using liquid glue, I actually can just sort of spin it until it gets exactly where I like it. So that one looks great. Okay, now I'm going to do the little one just so I've got that. And we may end up not using one of these. We may end up only using one flower, and that's, you know, that's totally fine. So I wanted to just try a little bit of a non-conventional color with these. So again, I'm using the ball tool on the back of the flower petals. And if I find I need a little bit more, I can go back. And actually, this one has smaller petals. So I want to switch to the next size down in the balls. It's just going to give me a little bit more dimension in those flowers. Okay. All right. And then starting from the back side. So by using this pad, it has, I've had a couple different flower forming sets in the past, and this particular one is a little bit different in that the pad is quite thick. It's probably like 1/3 of an inch thick or something. And because it's firm, it has give, but it also has like a little bit of a pushback. So you can't go too far. Some of the ones that I've used in the past, if the pad is too soft, when you're pushing on it, it can actually rip your little flowers. Okay, so we'll get this guy glued down. And let's see how we want to do this. Maybe sometimes it's better just not to think too hard about it. Okay. Yeah, these are really pretty. And then you can kind of take them and you can fluff them with your fingers if you want to. Pull them up a little bit more. You know, it's easier to modify once they're sort of glued together. Okay, so those are the 2 flowers that we have. And then we do have some leaves. I don't know exactly what color we want to use those, but we also have the flower centers, which I do know we're going to need, because these flowers definitely need a center. And I'm thinking that we should probably do the center out of this one. And I should have grabbed the sidekick for some of this. Okay, this actually, hopefully, is going to be a relatively quick card to put together. I'm going to do the leaves on this one too, just in case we decide we want the leaves, and then we'll have them all done and everything will be good to go. Run it through all at once. Oh, hi, Libby. You know, I didn't use a mist on this one. Hey. Hi, Stinky. So the director is here. He's logged in apparently as me, but he's here. Hi. So I didn't use the mist on these flowers, but if you were going to, you would use it before you put them with the ball tool and the shaper. Because then when but you don't use much, but then when they dry, they would dry in the form of what you're making. Honestly, I didn't even think about it today, but, and this paper is pretty thick, so I'm not sure that I need to, but that is, that's a really good question. So it would have been right before, after I die cut them, right before I formed them, okay? So now we've got these, and these, look at this. So once we add in that center, look at how beautiful this flower comes together. And it's just cardstock, right? So we can add a little bit of ink and stuff like that if we want to. But one of the things we want to be careful of, I mean, it's not like a be careful, right? Is that we kind of want to celebrate this really fun acetate cover that we have. So there's a lot of things that I can add into this to make it more, you know, more steps, more dynamic, you know, that kind of stuff. But sometimes simple is key. So I'm always cautious that before I get too far in the process, that I don't do all of the things that I think I want to do until I know that I actually want to do them, okay? Because sometimes simple is best. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, this is the one that could get tricky, okay? Because on acetate, ooh, you see everything, right? So how are we going to hide our adhesive of the stuff that we stick on there? That is a good question. Okay, so I haven't necessarily thought this all through yet, but let's see. Let me see what I can come up with, okay? So, because I think this would be really nice to have just kind of like so, and then we might just go even with the little flower, just like that, and call it good. Oh, you guys, I think this is going to be so gorgeous. All right, let's see what I want to do. Let me just think this through here. Okay. I'm going to get a... Okay, so the adhesive I'm going to try is, this is the Scrapbook Adhesives has this really, really thin adhesive for the back of cardstock. And if you put it on before you die cut, then it turns whatever die cut you make into a sticker. So if you get our Bonanza kits, this is the adhesive that I put on the back of those foil pieces. And this is the one that I recommend to a lot of people that come in looking for one that needs to be easy to cut. So there's a number of different ones. There's two actually that I use a lot. I use this one and I use the Elizabeth Crafts. The Elizabeth Crafts is thicker, and it potentially could be whiter when, I don't know why I had to enunciate that. Could be whiter when I go to cut it, and I kind of want this to be a little bit subtle. So it may or may not necessarily be perfectly invisible, but we're going to see. We're just going to see how it goes. Okay, so let me stick this on here. I definitely want to make sure that it gets full adhesive. Otherwise, then it really will be obvious. My Big Shot sounds like it needs a good oiling. It's funny. I didn't notice that it was creaking. Okay. All right, so we've got the give thanks, and we could be using the shadow, but I'm actually not sure that I want to use the shadow on this one because I really don't want to cover up too much of that background, because the background really is, you know, I mean, it's the star of the show, right? These are just things that are helping to accentuate it and kind of finish off our card. But this acetate cover is really, really where the beauty of this card is. So what I'm thinking is that this will go just right about here. And then if we want to add in the flower, nope, we're going to raise this actually. So we want to add in the flower. We could go here. We could go here. What do you guys think? You know what? Okay, I think what I know now is that I've got to put the center on. Let me go get a piece of foam. So there's a couple of different foams that I always try to keep handy. One of them we've talked about a bunch of times is my foam lines. That's probably not the best one for this, but I've got some like squares. These are in black, which is probably my first choice. But if you look at these, they're actually thinner than the white foams, okay? The whites are smaller, but they're thicker, so they're like twice the size. Now, because we did that beautiful flower forming, and because of the way that this center works, okay? So I've got two options. Where did my stuff go? Well, actually, I've got more than two options. But I'm kind of wondering, I don't know what the center of this flower actually would look like. So I'm going to give it just a little bit of a, I don't know, a dome. I think a dome sounds more. So now we have the flower and we have this cool shaped center in the flower, okay? So I think that actually one of these thicker foams should be good to just hold that guy in place. So it'll be even better if I get it where it is centered. I didn't grab the tweezers that go with my flower tools. That would have been helpful. And right there. Okay. Okay. So you guys, this is pretty awesome. Now, a couple things we could do is we could take remember the rose gold we were talking about? We could take that. We could add a little bit of ink to that. I even grabbed aged mahogany. I don't know how aged mahogany would work to give these guys a little bit of like a little bit more interest. But we could also add some white detail just to give things a little bit more. I don't know. It's so hard. I love the simplicity of this. 2 colors and this foil acetate, and you just keep things like simple and easy. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it needs more? It's so pretty. Just that, like just that way. I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. And it goes together so fast, right? All right, so trick here is let's be sure to get this one lined up nice and straight. That is not straight. There we go. And that is perfect, okay? Now, look at, so that doesn't look straight actually. Wait a minute. Oh, it looks a little bit straight. Does that look straight? From the back side, it doesn't look as straight, but that's okay. But look, you guys, so you see it, but look it. You don't really see that adhesive that's holding it on. Isn't that cool? I think that's really great. So you can see the die cut. It's just that like weird bits of adhesive that we're trying to kind of, you know, hide. So yeah, because you definitely want to see the die cut, right? It's a window. I mean, it's so cool. So, okay, so we've got that. And then I'm thinking maybe we just stick this on. It's very kind of a tone on tone, but I think this one is going to be really big for the project, unless we did kind of like 2 of them. Although that's not bad. What do you guys think? Thanks, Susan. Yeah, I know you thought, well, you know, if you were here, you might you might have something to say. Oh, creepy people. I don't even know how on earth I would work creepy people into this one. I just don't even have a clue. So funny. So, okay. I don't know. 1 flower or 2? That's what I need to know. 1 flower or 2, my friends. Oops. Let me turn off. One of these days I'm going to turn off this alarm before we start the video. Okay. So funny. Okay. This a little bit, and this one's bigger, so I'm going to use 2 of these double-sized foam ones. But I am going to assemble this flower in case you guys have input. 1 flower. Okay. All right. Do you like the flower sitting in the flower center? Oh, you're funny. Small on top corner inside and bottom corner outside. Okay. So we'll do something kind of like so and like so. Something kind of like that. Are we all good on that? It's a good question, Crystal. I would probably write on the back of the card. Just because it's so pretty. There are certain things you could do, like you could actually put a panel, like we could die cut a panel to put right behind this, and wow, it's like you are a professional. You guessed exactly what I was gonna say. I like it. Yeah, so you could put you could put a panel on the back inside of this acetate. You could even put a panel on the front if you wanted, but you would lose some of that, you know, that shine. But that would give you, you know, a space to write on the inside. But honestly, I would just write on the back. That's kind of what I would do with that at that point. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to figure out how is Brooke going to adhere these so that they are not that visible. It's a good question because Brooke didn't think about the flowers. So she's going to see how clear these glue dots are. Okay. So grabbing some glue dots I don't think I was the last person to use these glue dots. So when you use glue dots, you want to make sure not to touch them, if at all possible, with your fingers. But they are pretty clear. So I'm thinking we want this one right about here. Could I put one of the flowers under the acetate? You know, I could do that. The thing with doing that, Libby, is that if I did that, here, let me show you before I glue this one down. There isn't really an issue with that. I haven't taken the backing off, but it would make it so that the card doesn't necessarily close. Either way, it's not going to make the card thicker, right? Because cut a strip of what? It wouldn't make the card thicker, but it would, you know, just make it so it doesn't close. But actually, that could be a really interesting thing. And even if you had something flat, right, you would see through it. So also, let me do this. Let me take off this backing of the acetate now. And this is going to really, look at how much clearer. Can you guys see that? How much clearer that is? Whoa. Now it is like crystal. Crystal's on the watching too. It's funny. Okay. I'm going to stick these down so we can actually get moving here. Do you guys want a second one? I can't tell. I don't know. I'm kind of not sure. This is where it's really nice to have got a strip. I know, a strip of what paper? You got to give me more words. I know you pulled over to type. So it's really nice when you're here to help me with these finishing touches, because that's where you shine. But a strip of paper, you need more description in that in order to help me out. Okay, so something kind of like that. And then we could even add, if we need a little bit of contrast, although these ones, I don't know if these will fit, because you'll see the thing is with acetate, crafting with acetate, you have to get a little bit more creative, because, okay, I like that, but what you'll see on the backside is you'll see that. Okay, so you just have to get a little bit creative. So I think, although I don't actually hate that little guy sticking out of there. Let's see. Just to give a little bit of extra kind of dimension to it. Kind of like so. Okay. Yeah, I like this one better. Just a little bit. Just like that. Okay. So you guys, that's what I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you really quickly, honestly, how to use these as a card front for the construction acetate. Now, to do something even easier than this, okay, one of the things that you can do is you can take your card base. Let me kind of cut us. I'm just going to do this really quick so that you guys can see. That one is done enough. Okay, we'll call that done enough. But let me get this guy cut here too. Okay. All right, and scored at 4 1/4. Okay. Okay, so let's say we have our card base here. Next up, what we can do is, I just need to grab my nesting dies, which could be literally anywhere. Okay, I found these ones, and I want, okay, so I just found square ones, so we're going to use square. That seems to be what's on the table. now what I'm going to do is cut a quick panel. And this would be, say, my card front, okay? So this is how I would do this. We're going to open up the card, put my card panel right where I know that I'm going to want it, okay? So now I'm going to tape this in place because it's important that this stays put for the next stage, okay? Like so. All right. Now we are going to, let's do, that's a nice big window, isn't it? Okay. So we're going to cut this one and I'm going to tape this in place. You want to make sure this is nice and straight for you. Okay. And, there's a reason I don't use clear cutting plates. Where did it go? Does anybody see my clear cutting plate? I haven't gone anywhere. There it is. All the way over here. Okay. So the clear card front, like we did on that first one, really a dramatic way to have a card front because it has a real wow factor. You don't have to do a lot to decorate it when it is a foiled cardstock, foiled acetate. If it's a plain acetate, you might need to do just a little bit more to, you know, gussy it up. But really, the fact that it's a clear front is going to be what sells it, okay? So now for this one, we are going to do a card front, and we're going to cut this right into the both pieces so that we have a peek through to the inside of our card. Now, because of the cardstock being so thick, okay, what you do is you cut it at the same time, and if it doesn't cut all the way through, then what we're going to do is we're going to take the top piece off, which did cut through. Then we're going to re-put this die back in place and cut through the bottom one because it will already have a little bit of an indent as to where it's going to go. It just didn't cut all the way because it was so thick. So we're going to line this up, make sure it nests right into those notches, tape it in place so that it doesn't move, okay? And roll it through one more time. Okay. And now this will pop out and it will be perfectly aligned with the one because we cut them at the same time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of this acetate because we have some left over, right? And the best way to do this, friends, is to line it up on the back side of the mat. Because when you do it on the back side of the mat, move that out of the way too, then you'll know that it's the right size to go underneath the mat. So let me pull out my paper trimmer here. And we are going to see it's plenty, it's the right width. We just need to cut it right about there. Okay. So I'm going to take this, turn it over, grab my score tape, put this right on the inside of the window. You could also turn this into a shaker card if you wanted to do that as well. You could use this as the front of a shaker card because that would be that would give it a lot of a lot of strength. You could also do it as a shaker card with the peek through. So instead of score tape, you would use foam tape. There's a lot of options that you have with this one. So we just want to take off the sticky part here, and then okay, so we're going to make sure this goes down. We want to make sure that the colored part of the foil is facing forward, right? So we're going to give this a burnish so it stays right on there. Now we're going to want to make sure that we take that film off so that it becomes extra clear. Not all of the acetates have this film, but it's really nice when they do because it just makes it so clear. So now we're going to stick this here and here, and like so. Now I did a pretty decent job of lining these up so that it was relatively front and center, but I can see now that it's a little thinner on this side than this side, which actually is okay for this particular project because what that means is it's a whole lot easier for me to know which way this is supposed to go. Okay, so I'm going to now take this off, and you can kind of decide how you want to do this. Sometimes it's easier if you stand, which I'm going to do, because you got to get this lined up pretty darn spot on so that it doesn't, and by only doing one, then we can turn it over and see how well we did on the lineup. Looks like it's a little bit, actually it's pretty good, a little high, but I think that will work pretty good. And I can adjust this just a little bit. Yeah, okay. So I can adjust it just a little bit as I go to put down these other ones. So now I will pull these off. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure that everything is in the spot where I want it. Okay, now we have another option, and you have this is an easier type of a peek through to hide, right? So we can just take this little flower right here, which we stuck on here. Oh, guys, well, he might be stuck on there. I might have to put him back. Well, guys, if we were concerned that those glue dots weren't going to stick, the answer is they stick. So anyways, but now you guys see we can actually glue this down right here, right? And we can glue it onto the paper so we don't have any gluing issues at all with the acetate. And you can make this window go anywhere that you want to. Okay, so that is just a couple ways. I'm going to end up putting this back on because see that, which is a really interesting thing to know because I did not have any idea that the glue dots would hold that strongly on the acetate. So that's pretty awesome to have found out. Okay, so that's a couple different ways to use the foiled acetate. And then there's lots of other things that you can do, but these two would get you started on some various different projects, okay? So I hope that you guys learned something. We covered, you know, some different types of card fronts using acetate. We did some flower forming because I've referenced it a couple times, and Crystal keeps saying, well, not everybody came to your fundraiser project, Brooke. So I wanted to throw that in for you. And we used that really pretty. I love this one. I think it's so pretty. And this flower is awesome. So anyways, you guys, we have the foiled acetate in. You get like, I don't know, what is it, 12 sheets or something for $16.99. Really, really good price. I haven't seen anything like it at that price point in a long time. This right here, I haven't used this one before. This was a really, really cool die. This is that slimline lacy edge die. That one was only $11.99. The Give Thanks, I think, was, I don't know, $7.99. The flowers were $23.99. So, but these kind of things can be done with whatever products you have on hand as well. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night. Bye.